Hey, what's up, y'all? It's me, Nate Almighty, and I'm back again with a crazy Raising Kanan Season 4 theory and prediction. And today, I want to explain to you guys how the writers of Raising Kanan Season 4 are using science to intricately show us both how and why Unique ultimately becomes the man we know today as Breeze. And the placement of the scar on his forehead tells us even more than we would assume from a first glance. Yes, we all know by now that Unique will suffer some form of brain damage that changes him. But it's the location of the scar on his forehead that reveals where he suffered the most damage by the hands of his brother Ronnie. Different sides of the brain control different functions. And I will be the first to explain in real scientific detail why the location of Unique's forehead scar and his severe damage to the left side of his frontal lobe is what led him to become a recluse after healing, causing him to stay home more and develop a routine. It is also what causes his wild outbursts that we should expect to see in Season 4, and I'm predicting it now. We'll see more of it early on, and he will calm down at least a little bit from that as the story goes on. But it's also what causes his memory loss and what will be his occasional issues with remembering the right words to use in his sentences, which will lead him to not only staying home to watch Jeopardy, but other educational shows, as well as him doing crossword puzzles and reading books. And this transformation will be a slow burn, but by the end of Season 5, he will officially accept himself and also be viewed by everyone as Breeze. This video is going to be another banger. Without further ado, let's get to it. All right now, y'all, let's break it down like this. As I stated earlier, Unique clearly suffered the most damage to the left side of his frontal lobe. So we have to ask ourselves, what happens if you have severe brain damage on your left side? The left hemisphere of the brain. Brain damage to the left hemisphere of the brain can lead to trouble reading and writing, changes in speech, deficits in planning, organization, and memory as those skills relate to language, weakness or lack of movement on the right side of the body. So what we can expect to see from Unique as he's continuing his healing, because he's only about 2 or 3 months in as far as where Season 3 ended, is we're going to see him have changes in speech. Whereas in the middle of him talking, there's words that he's going to want to say, that he's going to mean to say. When we pay attention to his context clues, we're going to know what he wants to say, but the words are not going to come out of his mouth. The specific word he's not going to be able to say, right? He's going to have deficits in planning, organization. This is where he will begin to rely on Kanan more, right? And if he's still having these issues when Ghost and Tommy come around, this is where we're going to see him rely on someone like Ghost more as far as like planning and doing some organizing and things of that nature, right? Weakness or lack of movement on the right side of the body. Even in the picture that was leaked, right? Whereas there's Unique walking out of what appears to be Kanan's building, right? It already appears that he has a kind of like a tilt to him, a lean to him, right? But now, what happens if the left frontal lobe is damaged? Damage to the frontal lobe of the brain can cause a range of symptoms, including motor weakness and behavioral problems. A variety of conditions can damage the frontal lobe, including stroke, head trauma, and dementia, right? Now, in this case, when we talking about Unique, right, and what he suffered with Ronnie, we talking about severe head trauma to the left side of the frontal lobe. And this will include motor weakness and behavioral problems. So when he starts wilding out, he dumbing out, catching unnecessary bodies, or what I believe we will see is that, He's going to have a wild outburst over small, simple things, right? He's going to be offended. Similar to what we've seen from Ronnie, right? Who knows? Maybe we'll find out. You know what? I'm not even going to say that because that's an idea for a theory and it has nothing to do with Unique. But like I said, we are going to see him move a little slower a little bit in the beginning. He's going to have behavioral issues, but we're not done with the science, all right? The next question we have to ask is, what does the front left side of your brain control? The left frontal lobe is involved in controlling language-related movement, whereas the right frontal lobe plays a role in nonverbal abilities. Some researchers emphasize that this rule is not absolute and that with many people, both lobes are involved in nearly all behaviors, all right? But when we talk about language-related movement, that means how you putting words together in your head and how it affects the way that you think and the way that you speak and the way that you analyze what's being said to you. This will further contribute to him feeling like people trying to play him, to him not understanding what people are saying. And these are the reasons why he will become more of a recluse, develop a routine in the house where he's going to be watching specific shows. And he's going to have specific times where he goes in the house and he reads, right? He reads as he's rebuilding, not his consciousness, but his literacy and improving on his speech, right? Because we know he was very good at speaking well. He had a way with words, but we're not going to see this same Unique anymore, right? And now, what I'm about to say next, we can try to determine how long he will have these issues. Now, like I already said, I believe that in season 4, we're going to see a lot of the jumping out the window, being unnecessarily aggressive. It's not going to completely go away, but he will learn to calm himself down as time goes, right? But can frontal lobe damage repair itself? Right? It can, but not if you don't give your brain time to rest and heal the frontal lobe function, right? In the case of a TBI, rest doesn't only mean getting enough sleep at night. Your brain needs both physical and mental rest. So now, based on everything Unique got going on, right? Slowly, he will be able to give himself time for his brain to heal, right? And his other injuries, he will have time to heal from that. But I'm predicting that it will never go back to the same person that he used to be. It's never going to happen. His damage is just too severe. It's that simple, right? Next question we have to ask ourselves. Can you live a normal life with frontal lobe damage? Damage to the frontal lobe may cause a variety of effects such as impaired muscle movements, personality changes, and impulsive behavior. Fortunately, many individuals are able to recover functions affected by frontal lobe damage and improve their quality of life. So it's like I said, slowly he will get better than he is, but he's never going to go back to being that mostly calm, cool, and collected person that he used to be, right? Whereas for the most part, he had a cool head when situations happen. He's still going to be that person to where in OG Power, Ghost is telling Tommy, hey, Breeze was going to get us killed. That's why he had to go, right? Now, next question we need to ask ourselves is, what emotion does the left frontal lobe control? The neural system for emotions linked to approaching and engaging with the world, like happiness, pride, and anger, lives in the left side of the brain. So when we're talking about happiness, pride, right, and anger, right? Now we're talking about a Unique who's going to be severely mentally and emotionally unstable, especially for them early stages of his recovery process. We're talking about someone who he's hardly gonna even feel like he's not gonna feel like the same person he used to be. That will affect his happiness. And because his speech patterns are different, because his brain is, he's gonna be slow. He's gonna be a little bit slower than he used to be. That will affect his pride. And as far as his anger goes, once his pride is affected, if you feel like people are underestimating him or trying to play him, right? That's where the anger comes. That's where the anger comes. And once again, this is why over time it's people like Kanan, Ghost, and Tommy, specifically Kanan and Ghost, who are going to help him deal with the pride and anger aspect of it all, right? And I think the negative qualities as far as the crashing out and everything, I feel like Tommy is going to take after that the most. Next, which of the 5 senses does the frontal lobe control? Thinking, planning, organizing, problem solving, short-term memory and movement, which I've already stated, right? And now emotional symptoms. Depending on what part or parts of a person's brain are injured, the individual may experience significant behavioral and emotional changes. The frontal lobe, for example, helps govern personality and impulsivity. If damaged, there might be no braking mechanism for self-control. So what I'm saying is that, Unique is likely to become somewhat of a psychopath when he's outside. And it may be Kanan who decides, maybe I need to come up with ways to really keep this nigga Unique in the house, right? Because he's wilding. Right? A person may find he cannot control his anger or aggression. Hence why Ghost told Tommy he was going to get us killed. Breeze was going to get us killed, right? He may also make inappropriate comments to friends or strangers, not realizing they are off color. Or the opposite might happen. Someone's personality may become muted or seemingly emotionless. This is called flat effect. I think we will see a little bit of both, right? And that's the end of my theory. Y'all let me know. I believe that I've explained with science all the emotional and physical attributes that will affect Unique negatively, which causes him to become Breeze and develop the patterns that he has that led him to be easily killed by Ghost. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.
Can't teach that shit, nigga. Come on. That's God-gifted. That's touched by an angel. That's on the dome, nigga.